All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and repause. It was a little bit of a slow news day today, but there's still some fascinating stuff to talk about. I did a couple of science news articles actually earlier, like Neanderthals literally having like a fat factory. They were boiling bones in order to skim off and extract the basically primitive lard in order to add it to their food supply. Very intelligent. Of course, we thought that Neanderthals were basically point and grunt mode only a few years ago. We're quickly finding out, well, they buried people ritualistically, used drugs, made jewelry, etc., etc., etc. It shows social organization on a level that is not commensurate with the initial beliefs with regards to Neanderthals. But that's not going to be part of the news docket, although I suspect we'll be talking about that more, because it also, hatches into socio-political arguments and things of that nature. Netanyahu plays into Trump's hopes for a Middle East peace and nominates him for a Nobel Prize. Yes, Netanyahu himself has nominated Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, and that'll be the big news of the day. There's an article here, and they should have titled it differently, because people might be, confused about it. A Kamala Harris comeback? But then, if you read further, you find out this is a pro-Republican article saying, please run Kamala Harris. We're begging of you. Please make her your nominee. Apparently, a significant proportion of Democrats want this to happen. I think that they are delusional. Someone using AI to impersonate Marco Rubio contacted at least 5 people, including foreign ministers, according to a cable. We have the Whammon article. I covered this on my New Tech exclusive today, but I figured that I would revisit it because of the level of delusion that is involved with it. This is with regards to the stronger sex, what science tells us about the power of the female body, by Star Vartan, actually, or Vartan, I don't know how to pronounce it. For the sake of his party and country, Schumer should step aside. Yes, the liberals are getting a little bit antsy with regards to Chuck Schumer. And then there's a weird tire trap outbreak in Indonesia, actually. And that's sort of more throwaway news. But it's still intriguing to me. By the way, for some reason, this is... For some reason, that's just a second. This is improperly formatted. Oh, there we go. Okay. By the way, I may be doing an additional live stream later. I might be playing Oregon Trail 2, actually, while rambling about historical topics and other things. I am a master of Oregon Trail 2. I hope I've still got the mojo. Lev Polyakov. Yo, Sticks. Yo, Lil Sticks. I'm about to have a French class right now, but wanted to update you. The BTR edit is still going. Iran slowed things down, but back at it. Good. Yeah, remember, Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize for literally nothing. I think that Trump does deserve it, but I don't think that Alfred Nobel at this point would even like the way in which the awards are given. Like with regards to the nomination and judgment process, I don't really think that he would be a fan at this point. Of course, you'll remember Alfred Nobel as the man who invented TNT. And the idea was, hey, I'm going to save a lot of lives from mining accidents and shit like that. Because right now they're mainly using blasting powder. And people are getting, rocks, will fall on them and they get crushed. And you have accidents all the time. How about I make something that is more stable, that is more easily used? And so he saved a lot of lives, but then people started using them to kill one another, which he could have probably predicted in a more lucid moment. And unfortunately, he died very sad, actually. Last Beacon says, ping us over and over again. Hey, Sticks, ping us. The funny thing is that I actually couldn't see your username when I saw the Pingus post, but I knew exactly who it was anyway. Copium Poppies, Sticks, did you see that thread of our exchange with Grok regarding the screenshots from the Epstein prison vid? Their claim that no one went in or out is false. Yes, in fact, I retweeted one of the posts that you made. Yeah. So yeah, you might get an extra live stream today. I might be doing if I can figure out how to actually format it properly, might be doing an Oregon Trail 2 campaign. And of course, user advice will be listened to, generally speaking. Bobby, Sticks, are you going to strip naked and run through the streets of Vermont if Pam Bondi doesn't get fired? No, sadly for you, I'm sure that you would like footage of that. You seem to have an absurd euphoria with regards to this topic. Yeah. So yeah, let's Copium Poppy's weird. Didn't see the retweet. Oh, it's I did retweet it. I think. Yeah, I reposted the Grok post that was in your exchange with Grok, actually. Let's get to our sponsors before we get to the news, though. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get various mushroom pills. Yes, they invigorate you. I try to take them every day. And also they have doggo snacks now, too, which are in high demand, I'm assuming, because they don't last very long because the dog will sit there begging for more. They have 6 dual-activated mushroom extracts in them. Reishi and Chaga and lion's mane and so forth. Also, the pills that you yourself take, not in doggy treat form, of course, they seem to work. They're working for me. I have high energy, although I injured my back at some point recently and don't know exactly how. So, sadly, they're not opioids as well. BiltongUSA.com, where you can get Anton's Wagyu, you can get his Angus, you can get his Cabanassi, you can get his bison, you can get his venison. It's quite a long list of different kinds of meat, available in various different forms in some cases as well. You can also get, of course, and any time we talk about Anton, we must, of course, eat a little Bovrite. You can also get Vegemite and Marmite, but the Bovrite, the South African one, definitely the best. Absolutely. You should try it. You take a spoonful of that and you put it in your broth when you're making like a soup. Oh, it's delicious, trust me. It really works. And also Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available as well. And finally, jamandbean.com, jamnbean.com. Always, I like shouting them out, because then I get to smell the coffee. Yes. Got several bags of it. The Clank blend, of course, is available. They've got other blends of coffee, but of course I'm partial to the Clank blend. And also various teas as well. Sigil, razor-fisted, is coping on Twitter about Trump going unipartyist. Tell that homo to unblock and apologize to me for calling out his gay love for Trump and get rid of the pinned message here. Why would I get rid of the pinned message? Because it's my books blogs. I just released a new work, Nutty Norman. But no, Razorfist can do whatever he wants on his channel. That's his prerogative. BW, I always thought the Epstein thing was not a priority, but now that they failed, Trump needs to save some face by firing them. Agreed. I feel like this is a dangerous for MAGA coalition. Yes, indeed, I agree with you. The problem is that Trump is going to look weak or possibly legally culpable if he doesn't fire the people involved here. So Bondi, Bongino, and Patel. Get new people in there and use the Eisenhower chart method. So delegate to other people their jobs, and in turn hope that they delegate properly to people that are actually doing the field work. Last weekend, I know why you won't see the Epstein files or did he go to jail, because you will see a great recession, if not depression on steroids, far worse than the Trump tariffs. Sigil, the pinned message keeps popping up again and again and won't go the fuck away. It's covering most of the chat. Well, my apologies, but I have to have a pinned message there for my books blogs. There's not really anything I can do about it. It might be, try exiting the stream and then re-entering. See if that works. Copium poppies. Looks like Elon is suppressing it then. It's not showing up, which doesn't surprise me. Right after that exchange, X started glitching and views were really low compared to other posts. What a surprise. What a coincidence. I don't want to see that. No one wants to see that, says Last Beacon. Yeah, there are limitations to how much I can do. Galvin, Fire Bondi, surely Trump killed the list, no? No, I do not believe that Trump killed the list. I have a feeling that Donald Trump, I don't think that he went to Epstein Island, for example. I don't believe so. I believe that it's being covered up in part because so many rich and famous people went to the goddamn island. And there are ongoing investigations into some of them. Some of them have probably already been exonerated of any particular wrongdoing. They were literally just there for the pina coladas and shit like that. Sorting through this is going to take time because of the massive number of people and their massive legal capabilities that were involved in this particular intrigue. So that part I can actually understand. But to outright deny that there is a client list, that's beyond the pale. There is a client list, and there was blackmail going on as well as bribery. Last speaking, pills here. Pee-pee, grabbing pills, grabbing pills, grabbing pills. I'm assuming that's a reference to something. Sigil, no, Rumble is just being fucked today with the pinned message. It just keeps covering what I'm typing. Maybe they're doing a site update. That's always possible. So yeah, Netanyahu has decided to nominate Donald Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. A Kamala Harris comeback? Now, when you read the title of the article, this is also lie by structure, you'd think, oh, well, they're suspecting that Kamala Harris is going to become the next president or something like that. It's actually an article that is rather negative towards her, basically begging her to run because it's like, hey, Republicans should be supporting this. In fact, I believe that that is the right course to go on. Since the Democrats, at least at this time, have not been able to get their house in order, quite literally and figuratively, it's good to punish them in hopes that something better comes out of the Democratic Party. What better way to do that than to take a loser like Kamala Harris, fundamentally incapable of winning a national election, because she doesn't know how to form a coalition, doesn't work well with others, is cringe as fuck, and just wonky in general. What better way to assure that the Democrats lose in a crushing defeat than to get Kamala Harris nominated? I'm hoping that she's the nominee. I really do genuinely hope that they're crazy enough to go with that. Because maybe, just maybe, after she loses, which she would, I'll make that prediction right now, unless the Republicans would have to run somebody who is so mentally crippled that they weren't even able to talk or something like that. Other than that, it's almost certain that she'll lose, which means the Democrats get a crushing defeat, yet for a second time in a row, probably against J.D. Vance. He'd wipe the floor with her. For obvious reasons. He doesn't laugh at dead children. That's usually helpful when you're running a political campaign. And then what you get is hopefully a resurgence of maybe some sort of civic advocacy within the Democratic Party. Instead of having people like Kamala who are psychopaths, or people like Bernie and AOC who are so far to the left that they would make Stalin blush, maybe you'll get a party of sanity. It would be nice, just saying. Sigil, lunchtime anyway, BRB. Enjoy your lunch. You'll have to tell us what you ate. Copium poppies, why would Trump fire them? They're protecting him. It's pretty obvious who Trump is now, giving weapons to Ukraine, war with Iran, no internet bill of rights, covering for pedos. He can only be asked to do so much, though. He's one person. I am dissatisfied with some of the things that he's been doing. And I do still want that internet bill of rights, by the way. But I'm willing to give him time. Last speaking, Rumble being fucked. I don't want to imagine Rumble being humped. Heh. BW, Trump firing them is about as likely as me winning the lotto. Will the center not hold sticks? I don't know. Last speaking, spamming Bovrite over and over again. Bovrite, 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 Bovrite. Yeah, okay, we can eat more Bovrite. You're giving me an excuse to do so. It's not like you really have to send a super chat for me to do so, but Mm. 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 And I put it over here for a minute. Bovrite is really, really good. And by really, really good, I mean like really, really, really good. Just saying, the South Africans do it best with regards to that kind of yeasty spread. Alex Sargent, hey Sticks. Hey to you too, Alex. Shove Bovrite up your pirate booty. Dixie Normus. I get the name reference, by the way. I don't like the idea of a third party that can make a party win with 34% of the vote. Yeah, there's a real problem with the America Party sort of thing. I don't have any problem with it as far as, like, you have the right to form a party, you have the right to field politicians, you have the right to espouse your views and so forth. Is it pragmatic or is it a waste of time? It's a waste of time. That's the whole problem. Someone, by the way, this is more funny than anything else. I realize that this might be a national security issue, but at the same time, it's fucking hilarious. Somebody apparently called a member of Congress, 3 foreign ministers, and a U.S. government with AI that was using Marco Rubio's voice and trying to ask for classified information. And of course, these people, they're like, what the fuck? Why are you asking me this? Apparently, AI has gotten sophisticated enough whereby via phone call, or in this case, an app actually, according to the cable, the unknown actor posing as Rubio created an account in mid-June on the messaging platform Signal, using the display name marco.rubio@state.gov as part of an effort to impersonate Secretary of State Rubio. By the way, the number of felonies that you are now going to be charged with if you're found is quite a number. That would be probably prison for 20, 30 years or something like that. If it's an espionage agent, I'm assuming that they won't get caught at all, though. And if it's some troll, well, it's an epic troll, that's for sure. It reminds me of soundboard pranks back in the day. Didn't a couple of Russians at one point do that with a U.S. politician? I can't remember which one it was, but they called in and they actually held a conversation with, who was it? Was it John Kerry or somebody like that? Somebody fact check me on this. The details are a little bit fuzzy on that one. But they used a soundboard and they actually managed to call in and there was a recording of it. And it was hysterical. I don't see anything particularly terrible about this, though. I think that it's more funny than anything else. Imagine, you sample Marco Rubio's voice through AI, and then develop a sophisticated call-in system, and you convince, like, some diplomat from South Korea that you're actually Marco Rubio or something like that. Tigers are my totem, sent $10. Thank you. Copium Poppies. He got elected to keep us out of wars and to cut off Ukraine. He campaigned on the Internet Bill of Rights. He campaigned on deporting illegals, not giving them amnesty, and out the Epstein clients. Again, there are explanations for much of that. As far as the Internet Bill of Rights, though, goes, I am completely on board with you. I am troubled by the fact that the Trump administration has not yet really addressed that issue. There is a sporadic attempt, but it should be a front burner issue because being able to speak and express yourself and not be censored for doing so, I would think would be near and dear to the Trump administration after the Biden administration openly flaunted the concept. Last Beacon, good luck with that on the whole crushing defeat with Kamala Harris. If they do run her again, I've seen the very large gaping maw of human stupidity if they will double down on stupid. She wouldn't win. No, I don't think that she'd be capable of winning. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Copium. If Trump as one man can't keep his word and instead does his best to slap those who voted him in the face, there is no reason to give him time. He's had almost half a year. That's like not that long within political jargon. It'll take him more time. He's got to deal with going down and up back through the echelons. I'm spilling me water. He's got to go up and down through the echelons multiple times in order to get anything done. BW, what is this about Trump giving amnesty? He's not. What's happened is that Donald Trump is effectively demurring on the subject of people who have generally done nothing else wrong. And he's talking about reintegrating people if they come in through the proper channels. Now, that part I actually agree with Trump on. Let's say somebody came illegally through expedience or something, escaping a hostile regime. They get deported, but then they come back in and they file the paperwork and they immigrate legally. Again, unless they've got some sort of criminal background or they're a terrorist or something, that's not really going to be a priority for the administration. It can't be. They don't have the resources. Even if they were to up the immigration budget by 10 times, they wouldn't have the capability of deporting everyone. It would be physically impossible. Why is the cat meowing out there? The world may never know. Happens all the time. Last weekend, and this isn't a left or right sort of thing. It is basically the total sum of humanity for the last 15 years, if not 24. True. Copium. It's plenty of time if he gets creative with the indefinite detention provision instead of acting like a weak Republican pussy. Well, the problem is every time he tries to fucking do something, he gets blocked by the courts anyway, so he's going to have to rely upon the judiciary. Relying on the so-called justice system is generally a bad idea, as I myself have seen. Last weekend, I've seen it happen going from the 1990s to the middle of the 2010s. Copium, the cat wants in. Yeah, no, the cat doesn't want into here. It's probably my dad went to the bathroom, and for some odd reason, he just gets obsessed over that and will meow at the door. Oh, here's an article we talked about this morning, but only on a New Tech exclusive, so I thought I'd bring it back up. Star Vartan is the author of The Stronger Sex, What Science Teaches Us About the Power of the Female Body, which will be published on July 15th. Oddly enough, my sentencing date, by the way, via Zoom call. The argument that's being made is that the female body is made better for durability and resilience. And this explains why females tend to have lower attrition during times of famine and war and things like this. I have an alternative hypothesis, one that is much more historical. Men tend to sacrifice themselves for women, or at least until lately when the gender wars began. Men are more likely to go to war, women less likely. If there's 3 potatoes on the table, this is the example I used, and there's a famine, the man is more likely to give the woman 2 of the potatoes instead of taking 2 for himself, and so forth. If the man is rudimentarily chivalrous, the tendency is to try to protect women and children. This is the natural biological order, because women can give birth. Well, you only need a few men, but you need more women in order to reproduce the next generation. Men are much more expendable, but we are definitely more physically powerful. A man, in general, on average, will be able to overpower a female. That's just the way it is. The genders are not the same. I know this is politically incorrect. Oh my God. No, men tend to be stronger. Men tend to be the ones that do the hunting. Men tend to be the ones that do the heavy work, the heavy lifting and stuff. Women, typically, if you look back even a few centuries ago, their main role was doing odd jobs like sewing and stuff like that while they were watching the kids. That was their main role. Make and watch the children, keep them safe while the man went out and got the meat, while the man went out and killed other men or something like, and probably ate them in some cases too, and things like that. That was basically the natural order for all of human history, up until the revisionism of literally just the last century. The idea that men and women were effectively nothing more than cogs in a machine that could be completely interchangeable. Well, they're not interchangeable. They've both got their own roles. Now, does this mean that I think that women shouldn't be able to work or be childless? No, they can do whatever they want. But biology says that that's not natural completely. Can a man be like a stay-at-home dad while the woman goes out like a lioness and gets the meat? Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, I'm going to laugh at you, but you can. Is that natural? No, it's not natural. The man should be the one that is safeguarding the woman and the child. And by the way, the best thing you could do is find some tomboyish chick that'll go and blow animals' heads off with you or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. So this article is completely moronic. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Copium, then declare the judges blocking him terrorists and lock him up in Gitmo. He runs the enforcement arm of the government and would be removed from office if he did that, unfortunately. Although I would support it. Last Beacon says pirate booty over and over again. That's a lot of booty. Yeah. Men and women are not interchangeable. I cannot give birth to a child, but I can defend that child. A woman is less able to defend the child, but she can give birth to the child. See? It's different. I don't think that men and women should be in any form of competition at all. I think that they are effectively two pieces that go together. And they cooperate. That's the whole fucking God, the cat won't stop meowing out there. We got locked in the bathroom or some shit. Oh, this time it's not even Quincy. It's actually Athena that's doing it. She does this sometimes. She just, I don't know. There's something wrong with her mentally. Copium poppies. By who? Well, again, by Congress. And so they would simply remove him from office. The military at that point would respect Congress. They wouldn't respect Donald Trump anymore because he's been officially removed. Nah, I'm not going to show you the cat. The cat can, do her own thing. She's a little bit on the weird side. Also, you wouldn't see her anyway because there's no way to pick her up. She hates being picked up. With Quincy, it's like you can carry him around like a bread loaf, basically. For the sake of his party and country, Schumer should step aside. This is from The Hill, so keep in mind, this is a... Darth Jason has raided the stream over on Rumble. Intradasting. I still don't know how Rumble raids work, actually, come to think of it. But I thank you for that. I know that it means that someone is referring other people to the stream. Yeah, Chuck Schumer has become dead weight for the liberals. In multiple ways. He's not charismatic. He's badly aging. He's just Nancy Pelosi's lapdog anyway, so... if you've got Schumer in the Senate, it's basically like letting Nancy Pelosi control the Senate minority, too. Will they manage to kick him aside, though? Probably no. I do not believe that Chuck Schumer is going to be forced out. He'll be in there until he dies because he likes his job. And I think that he likes one thing even more now in his particular Senate role. Keep in mind, he's Pelosi's lapdog. She would lead him around like a goddamn Pomeranian. I think that he is exceptionally happy with the fact that Nancy Pelosi has been knocked off her pedestal at this point. And so I think he wants to relish in that and hope that she predeceases him or has to drop her role first. I think that he's very, very happy about the fact that she is the House Minority Leader now. And that he can sort of, prance around and say, well, not so big now, are you, buddy? And doesn't have to get led around again, like a fucking Pomeranian, a little, Arfie dog or something like that. The liberals would be wise to jettison him, although I'm not sure exactly what they would fucking replace him with. But at the same time, I don't think he's going anywhere. Last Beacon. Bird, 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 bird. Jesus Christ, dude. Copium poppies. Not if he declared problematic Congress members terrorists, and most of them legitimately are terrorists by virtue of aiding and abetting. That requires, ironically, the judiciary to find such. So then again, you run into a problem. The problem with Donald Trump's agenda is that it's being impeded by groups that would have to effectively impede themselves to remove the impeding. It's like a catch-22 within the government, the way it works. No, Patrick D. Styx did not block you. The Wilford Brimley rabbit. Men should throw cell phones at women. I get the reference. Hey, if you pay me, I'll still read it out. Copium poppies, not with the indefinite detention provision. Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's going to have to work its way through the courts. And the court system, as I myself know, is very, very, very slow. We're talking like, imagine a snail trying to crawl across the back of a ground sloth or something like that. That's basically, the speed at which it works. Makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, diabetes and diabetes testing supplies. Don't make me do Wilford Brimley quotes. Metal tire traps plague city streets as locals take matters into their own hands. This is in Indonesia, so this is foreign news. I figured this would be fun for the day. Then we can rant about Neanderthals for a while, because I always like that subject. By the way, do you pronounce it Neanderthal or Neanderthal? We're going to have a fucking poll about that. Oh, that's right. I was going to do the poll with regards to which doctor you would trust the most if you had a grievous injury. Let me create that really quickly on this live stream. You are badly injured. Which doctor do you trust the most to heal you? And of course, this is going to be a hilarious poll, so I'll share out that link as well in chat. Dr. Pepper, Dr. Scholes, Dr. Vorkian, or Dr. Fauci. All right. Yeah, it's up now. Here, let me grab the status. I'll pop that in chat. So then everyone can have a good time. I don't know. Anyway, we'll go back to the metal tire traps. I'll announce the results of the poll in like 20 minutes. Like, it'll be probably somebody who'll be far out ahead. A popular city has locals taking to the streets to help crack down on the tire traps that are scattered across busy roads. Volunteers in Jakarta, Indonesia, that's their capital, have been picking up nails, threaded bolts, and scraps of umbrella frames, according to the AP. It's thought the mysterious sharp metal pieces are intentionally left by vandals to damage the tires of vehicles on main roads. Now, it looks like there's a correlation here between the location of these tire traps and tire repair stores. Why do I get a feeling that these two things may be slightly related? The article posits basically the same thing. Yeah. Definitely Dr. Pepper. Last beacon, potatoes, potatoes, potatoes. Potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. I would have to agree with copium poppies locking up judges. I really, really wish that that were legally possible. The problem being that the judges are the ones who adjudicate, generally speaking. So it would take a massive, gargantuan effort by Congress in order to clear up some of the problems that we've got right now in the judicial sense. Congress would have to get involved. They can countermand the judiciary through constitutional direct. But you don't have the votes right now. Copium poppies. How would it need to go through the courts? If the judges defying the will of the American people are locked up in Gitmo under the indefinite detention provision, they don't need to send them to court. Yeah, but they're American citizens. That's a little bit different than foreign combatants and people from other countries and so forth. Autumn Willow. Kevorkian. Yeah, Kevorkian is the easy way out. It's like, oh, I'm badly injured, I'm probably dying. Just put me out of my misery. Actually respect him, since, he wasn't forcing anyone to die. He was just helping him to die with some degree of dignity when the government told him they had to live, in suffering. Yeah, Dr. Mengele. Mengele, by the way, and this is true, and correlation does not equal causation, so there are two explanations for this, but after World War II, he moved to Brazil, and he was last known to be in a town that has a significant number of identical twins. He was obsessed with the concept of identical twins and included them, he was the angel of death, in his experiments. We are not sure whether Mengele did something to their genetics or something like that, or whether he just located there because there were already so many identical twins. We are not sure about this. I think he died in 1974, if I remember correctly. So keep in mind, the angel of death was sitting there watching TV at night, watching, rockets go up into space and nuclear explosions and stuff like that. He must have found it fascinating. They never caught him. Yeah, Dictator Dave. Argentina, not Brazil. My apologies. Copium. They're the domestic enemy. The president swears an oath to defend against, and working within standard guidelines is not going to solve anything since the entire government are traitors. Yeah, I know. And there's the rub. You should rise up against this false authority and the things that it's doing, but there's no legal methodology by which you can really do so. That's the problem. Adam Price, 90% of being a pirate is half mental. Pirates were very cosmopolitan and democratic, actually. Had a better working system, arguably in many cases, than the current government has. If the pirate party weren't a bunch of leftoids, I'd probably join them. Last Beacon, there's a lot of booty that's be $4, baby. You want fries with that? I get the movie reference too. By the way, Kung Pao Into the Fist, one of the best movies ever made within the comedic genre. Man, god damn, the cat is still meowing? I have no clue what's going on. Sometimes she just goes mental. Athena, come on, I'm gonna throw snap pops at you. Lemon Curd, hey Styx, does Alligator Alcatraz give guided tours yet? No, not yet. Oh, last weekend, he just left with booty. Go have some snacks, perhaps a carbonated soda. I hope they have ices. My nipples look like milk duds. I have chosen the large tub. Could quote that shit all day. I've got some yellow liquid for your popcorn, and it's non-dairy. Yeah, that's one of my favorite comedy movies. I would say that is second only behind Young Frankenstein. Young Frankenstein is a masterpiece. Kung Pao is, in its own way, also a masterpiece. Beware his song of big butts. He beats you up while he plays it. Yeah. I remember. He told me there would be a chosen one. There will be a chosen one. Then he told me of the significance. It will be significant. And then he killed the dog. Ooh. I remember the first fucking time Oh yeah. Pew, wheel, wheel, pee. I remember the first time I saw that movie, I was laughing my ass off. I mean, I still do, but I did then too. Yeah, the Kung Pao is one of the best. Yeah, Young Frankenstein and Kung Pao, the two best comedies that I've ever seen. Cheech and Chong are great. You get like Blazing Saddles. Also, what's it called? The Ghost and Mr. Chicken actually was a really good movie. That was a really, really old one. I can remember one scene where he tries to make a speech, and anyway, he's trying to make a stump speech, and then announces that he's going to be like going into the haunted house and shit, and you know, it's basically like an Inspector Gadget thing. You know, the idea that he's just derped out and makes mistakes, but those mistakes culminate in finding out what's going on. It's a really funny movie. Watch The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. Also, Arsenic and Old Lace. If you want another funny movie from, you know, the older years, Arsenic and Old Lace. It's fantastic actually. And got the insane dude who thinks that he's Teddy Roosevelt and stuff. Yeah, Don Knotts starred in that movie. He did an exquisite job in Ghost and Mr. Chicken. Also, he had one called The Love God, I think it was. And I can't remember exactly the plot of that, but I remember watching it as a kid and thought it was funny. I was raised on that sort of stuff. I was raised on movies and shows that were from long before I was born. And let me tell you, I love it. Gilligan's Island is my favorite TV series of all time. And one of the funniest, by the way. Thank you, by the way, to the Clanker that sent me all three on DVD. Copium. The only way to remove tyrants is through tyrannical means. Trump is a unique position to do just that. Instead, he pals around with the neocons, covers for pedos, and gave Ukraine and Israel aid. The problem is you're telling him to take the Ring of Sauron and attempt to use it against Sauron. That will not work. There are other methods. Don't worry. Last beacon, if Chuck Schumer does leave or retire, it would be damn near catastrophic, at least for Democratic circles. Yeah. Copium Poppy. Sticks, you need to watch Freddy Got Fingered. Seriously, watch it. Everyone keeps mentioning Freddy Got Fingered. Mr. Sauce. Sticks is coolest grandma ever. Nixter. Gilligan's Island is trash. MASH is God mode. I do like MASH. MASH was fun. Although sometimes it was a little bit more dour. You know, it was, you know, war reflective and stuff. Whereas Gilligan's Island was literally nothing but slapstick. There was nothing but comedy in that fucking show. And it was a sin. And I will never forgive them. When they put Gilligan's Island up in the same slot against Gunsmoke, they doomed the series. Because it was impossible to compete with Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke's the most popular series in American history. Who the fuck can compete with Gunsmoke on the same time slot? It's basically like nobody's watching anything else. How many fucking seasons did it go for? Like 20 seasons or some crazy shit like that? It lasted and lasted. And by the way, the dude who was Festus also played a bad guy role in Killer Shrews, actually. Yep, that's the same dude, believe it or not. Yeah, so Festus wasn't always a good dude. He was generally the comic relief. I remember that one episode where the dude is delusional and he captures Festus and, threatens him with rattlesnakes or something like that, and then goes off into the desert, and he's got some gold ore and stuff like that. And he's like, he frog marches him back into town, but the town's been deserted. It was a ghost town, but he's delusional at that point. He's like, completely dehydrated and fucked up, and he's imagining all the people around him and just rambling, and Festus is like, he just shakes his head, takes the water, and wanders off, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Festus. Festus was my favorite character. Any episode without Festus was, in my opinion, unfortunately, a loss. Yeah, Festus was definitely my favorite. He's a good actor, too. Yeah, MASH was good. Gunsmoke was great, but I will never forgive the people that were running the industry at the time for putting Gilligan's Island up against Gunsmoke and destroying it. Because we only got 3 seasons. I mean, you also have a cookbook and a couple of movies. Those are funny. There was a movie where the survivors of Gilligan's Island had met the Globetrotters, and then there was a mad scientist with an army of robots that were playing basketball. And then, it was a weird plot line. Like, at first, they were trying to play regular basketball, and, they couldn't win. But then they realized, hey, we can use our Globetrotter moves. And so they did, and this was to show off the Globetrotters, basically, which are very entertaining, by the way. I'd love to see the Globetrotters live. And then, of course, they creamed the robots, and I think the mad scientist in the end, like, I don't know, he took his robots and left or something like that. We're now talking about TV land shows. I also liked a lot of the cartoons, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, stuff like that. I grew up watching these things. I didn't grow up watching things that were contemporary to the 90s. I grew up watching mainly things from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Jeff Garman. Marianne kept me watching Gilligan's Island. Yeah, Marianne, actually, the actress from that actually made the cookbook that I've got. It's the Gilligan's Island cookbook. And by the way, some of the recipes in there look delicious. It's not like they were actually served in the Gilligan's Island show. It's just recipes from the people that actually were in the show. In fact, I'll show it off in a moment. I'll pause to go to the bathroom briefly and I'll grab the cookbook on the way back. King of Biltong! Savor our premium Angus and Wagyu Biltong. High protein, carnivore and keto friendly, no additives. Free shipping over $54.95. Shop now for bold flavor, www.biltongusa.com, and use code STICKS for 10% off. Strongly recommended, by the way. Copium Poppies, watch Freddy Got Fingered. Okay, I will. At some point. Tonight, I think I'll watch, I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. I was kind of going to watch Treasure Island, actually, because I just love that friggin' movie. Anyways, I'm going to be off here for just a second. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I'll grab the cookbook if I can find it, and then I'll get to show it off, because it's just so entertaining. Be right back. All right, I am back indeed. Darren, in virality, Styx is definitely a mushroom expert. That is true, actually. Yes, I studied mycology, including at the college level, both academically and in the amateur sense. By the way, I do have the cookbook. Last Beacon says snail over and over again. Ugh. Yeah, the last time I ate snails, it was I got food poisoning, and it wasn't the most pleasant experience in my life. Copium poppies. Watch it today. Sigil. Styx has to take a piss break because of the severe prostate cancer he contracted from gay owl demon butt sex. hmm. Oh, I don't have my sunglasses on, actually. I usually take them off when I'm trying to find something. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. Now I look less cool. How sad. Copium. Watch Freddy Got Fingered over and over again. Yeah. Gilligan's Island Cookbook. What year is this from? We're just banting now. This was 1993 by Dawn Wells, Ken Beck, and Jim Clark. She probably fucked both of them, by the way. You know, yeah, people do that. I think she got in trouble one time for having a bunch of marijuana when she was driving around stoned. And, or was that Tina Louise? I can't remember which one it was. It was one of them. Although the entire cast probably was partaking. Last weekend, I feel so damn old. I'm reaching 42 now. I've seen so much good stuff in the early 2000s, as well as seen the massive fall in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Yeah, you have all sorts of great recipes in here, as well as pictures, of course, of the cast in various poses and roles. Blaze of Noon chicken soup, pancho tortilla soup, zucchini watercress soup niet. That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, the soups and salads sort of sections more apply to me. But they've got all sorts of stuff. Luxury liner liver, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde casserole. It's a little bit like show oriented. Like, it's kind of a meme book when you think about it, but the recipes do sound good. Life Raft rice, 2 tablespoons butter, 1 cup raw rice, 1 4-ounce can sliced mushrooms, 1 teaspoon seasoned salt, 1 package Lawry's cheese Italian dressing mix, and hot water. And of course you mix these together and you make your life-saving rice, I suppose. Plan B, green beans with basil. They've also got a cocktail section, of course, and a dessert section. It's a very fun book, actually. I remember I got this back when I was, 10 years old or something. Believe it or not, I used to dress as Gilligan when we went to the beach. I had the white Gilligan hat, the red shirt, and everything else. And did that because I loved the series, actually. So yeah, you should get a copy if you can get one. I mean, it's out of print now, but if you can get a copy of Marianne's Gilligan Island cookbook, you should probably get one. Copium poppies. Did we mention that you should watch Freddy Got Fingered? If not, watch Freddy Got Fingered. Goodness. Last week in shit, I meant to say early 2000s. Sigil. Styx takes off his sunglasses to find his dick within his scraggly bush. Yeah. We'll check our poll in a minute. The Wilford Brimley rabbit. Styx is playing with his wiener, thinking about Jeremy. That's why the bathroom break was so long. Sometimes the people that dislike me on the channel are more funny than the ones that like me. Cam2425IA. Did you see Razor Fist McCarthy video? Also, go watch Freddy Got Fingered. Lol. God damn. Freddy Got Fingered apparently is going to become as big a meme as Spoon Clank or something like that. Or Pingus. Devil Dog. Courage the Cowardly Dog was definitely fun. Well, I mainly watched, I watched the old Scooby-Doos and stuff like that as a kid too. And things like that. I did like a lot of the 90s cartoons. And that's definitely one of the best Courage the Cowardly Dog was great. Jeff Garman, Chad is going downhill fast. Yeah, it always goes downhill. You know, this is just a band stream at this point. I've covered all the news. The problem is that during a news day, some days you have so much news, you have to compact like all of the major news into one-offs, then carry them over as well because you've got to discuss them at more length. And then you have other news stories. Like, I don't want to just cover politics. I wanted to talk about Neanderthals and the fact that they were far more intelligent than the Homo sapiens existing at the time. They had beer brewing, they had tallow works, they had jewelry, cave painting, which was at least semi-realistic, and things like that. They had various cool tools that they were using. It'd be so funny to go back 100,000 years in history and live with a bunch of Neanderthals. Probably be pretty fun, actually. Holden Sneedmeyer, the Trust the Plan crowd was annoying during Trump's 12-day war with Iran. This Epstein thing is deserved because they push the skeptics and critics out. My thought on that is simplistic. Trump cannot be held singularly accountable for every little thing that happens, but he does need to take action. It is necessary at this time for him to do so. He needs to fire Bongino, he needs to fire Bondi, and he needs to fire Patel. Fire them, get people in there that understand the Eisenhower four-square system, and then hopefully they'll fire and rehire people at the lower level that will be able to manage things more easily. Unfortunately, by now, a lot of the evidence has probably been destroyed anyway, so I don't know if we're going to get any closure or if it's even physically possible. Sigil, you checked the new Ailstorm album? Banana seems like it'd instantly become your new favorite song. I'll have to look it up. Banana by Ailstorm. Haven't heard that one. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that later. Last Beacon. I say this about Chuck Schumer, retiring or leaving. It's because he still has that much power, and if he does leave, it would be so catastrophic for the Democrats. Because the hard-left Marxist would finally have full reign over the party, people that would make Barack Obama look sane. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm hoping for. Their party needs to crash and burn so that hopefully something better arises, because clearly they haven't learned their lesson. You know, quite clearly with Mamdani and people like that, they haven't learned their lesson in any way, shape, or form. I mean, some of their, you know, policies don't even make any sense at this point. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Yeah, Adam Price. Schumer is way too good at courting donors. See, that's the problem. Getting rid of the unipartyists is difficult because you need a lot of money to do it. That's why I wish that Elon were still on board with the MAGA thing, because his resources would be invaluable. The fact that you don't agree with one spending bill and then you spurg out and have a temper tantrum is very, very unhelpful, because those resources could have knocked off dozens of unipartyists very easily. And then, by the way, you know, you'd have a substantial chunk of people in Congress that are on board with you that could lobby Trump to, for example, give you subsidies and stuff. A little bit of a kickback. One hand washes the other. This is the way that government works anyway. Copium, everyone DM Sticks and tell him to watch Freddy Got Fingered. Oh, God. Sigil, schedule a couple minutes to listen to Banana right after the stream. Bonus points for the power move of playing it on stream right now. You'll see why I think you'll love it immediately. Well, I can't play it on a live stream because I'm assuming it's copyrighted, but I'll definitely watch it afterwards. Diabsol, acid bath. Acid bath is okay. I have a very, very wide variety of music that I listen to. Sometimes I want to listen to like G.G. Allen or something like that. Sometimes I want to listen to like What Fresh Hell by Leviathan. Very hard hitting song, by the way. It's just a whirlwind of hatred, basically. Sometimes I want to listen to dancey music. And then sometimes I like classical compositions, 1812 Overture and so forth, anything by Bach for the most part, etc. Sigil, I DM'd Styx and told him to watch Freddy Got Fingered. I'm sure that others will follow in your footsteps, my son. Yeah, acid bath is pretty great. I like intestinal disgorge and Bilalugugal and Bak Bak Walanuxiwe and some of these other, rather less known bands. Intestinal Disgorge, I think, is a Texan band, if I remember correctly. And they do it best when it comes to basically turning splatterpunk into an audio track. I like Marduk, I like Leviathan, I like Mayhem. Copium. An acid bath would be fun, but I don't know if there's enough LSD in the world to actually make it happen. I believe there was a case, actually, one of the few deaths from LSD exposure, where a person was making acid using a bathtub as a reservoir and accidentally fell in and probably absorbed, 10,000 doses of acid at one time and was fried out and died. There was another case where somebody soaked their clothes with LSD and in order to transport it. I guess they figured they'd wring it out in the end or something like that. It sounded like a cockamamie plan to me. But they died en route. Those are the only two deaths from LSD that I know of that didn't involve someone getting so high that they simply like drowned or something like that. Harrison Bergeron, don't take the brown acid. Yeah, that's a Woodstock reference. I believe there was a batch of acid that wasn't quite well made, and it was like a brown color, the tabs, and so people were, they had to go to the hospital basically, the infirmary. Something smells like it's burning, like burnt toast or something like that. And since I'm clearly not having a stroke, that means, well, hopefully the fire alarm doesn't go off. Toilet bowl LSD. Yeah, it's like toilet bowl Merlot. Weed, man. You gotta smoke that swede, man. Yeah, I'll watch Banana by Ailstorm in a little bit. Yeah, my dad is cooking. We're having tuna noodle casserole tonight. One of my favorites, by the way, and yes, I absolutely put ketchup on it. You may think me a heathen. You may think me a pagan, but I'm an enlightened one. Ketchup is literally the spread of the gods. Copium poppies. Burnt toast is... You're Italian! Ha ha ha! Yes, Mario. Oh, I've still got to do the gay Mario skits, actually. I've got a series of skits where Mario and his friend Antonio are interacting, and Antonio just rambles about Mario and the gay things that he's doing and stuff like that. Sigil. 2 people on Twitter asked Grok to summarize their post interactions and determine their fans and haters. I got on the hater list twice and don't even know one of them. I'm a certified player hater. Bobby seems to have 2 fetishes in life. Seeing my feet and seeing me behind bars. Bobby, my man, you gotta stop obsessing. Let's see what the poll is at. Yeah, it seems that by an overwhelming margin, people trust Dr. Pepper the most, and Dr. Fauci the least, if they were badly injured. It's funny that Kevorkian beats out Fauci. This doesn't surprise me, but it's still funny. With 500 votes in, roughly, Dr. Pepper way out in front with 59.3% of the vote. I guess you pour the Dr. Pepper on your wound or something like that. You actually can use certain sodas as an antiseptic, by the way, because they're so acidic that not much can grow in them. And no, Turtle's toy box, I did not. That is the result of the leather rubbing against the side of the table. Dr. Pibb. Diabsol, what do you think of the media reaction to Texas floods, like MSNBC? Um, yeah, I think that it's retarded, actually. To try to make it a political issue when there are still people unaccounted for is kind of ghoulish, in my opinion. Just my opinion, but I think that the average person would probably agree with me. Trust me, Bobby, I will not be going to jail under any circumstances. Don't worry about it. Sigil, I was at lunch and didn't know about any poll, but I'm drinking Dr. Pepper right now. Spooky. Yeah, I'm going to be having one later. You gotta get that caffeine up in you. Dr. Pepper Zero, by the way, is one of the few sugar-free options that actually tastes exactly like the original. Like with Coke Zero, Pepsi Zero, and stuff like that, it just doesn't taste quite the same. With Dr. Pepper Zero, though, it tastes exactly the same. There is no difference. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. BW, I think that was around the time Styx was having his insomnia too, Wolf. I have insomnia all the time. That's the problem. Sigil, nuclear hot take. Dr. Thunder, Walmart brand, beats the brakes off Dr. Pepper, and it's not even close. Fuck you all. You're wrong for disagreeing. I've never tried it, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, I've never tried Dr. Thunder. I've heard of it, but I've never tried it. Vavi, I assure you, one way or the other, it's going to be my haters that get felted very badly. And it's going to be hysterical. Clem Semple is here. I see you clanking. Let's talk about Neanderthals. They had jewelry. They had pipes. They had woodwind instruments. They had ritualistic burials. They had sophisticated artwork. I mean, it's way better than anything you get in a modern art museum today. They had bone tools. They knew how to sharpen rocks. They were arguably a bit beyond the Stone Age at that point. They knew how to brew. They knew medicine. They appear to have had the ability to try to heal one another when they were injured. This points to a level of cultural sophistication that goes far beyond what we were taught when most of us were in, for instance, elementary or middle school or something like that. Most of these things were not actually known at the time, at least by the general public. Maybe speculated amongst archaeologists, but beyond that, generally people didn't know this. As a result, you get like caveman movies from the 80s. They depict the Neanderthals as being almost like gorilla-like or something like that. And the Homo sapiens, of course, those are the ones that are advanced. Like, what was the name of that movie? The one, I think it was called How Man Created Fire or something like that. Let me look this up. There was a really great movie. I think it was called... No, I'm not thinking of the Denzel Washington movie, believe it or not. Quest for Fire, I believe, was the name of the movie. Yes, Quest for Fire. And it depicts the early archaic Homo sapiens as being, relatively intelligent. And it depicts the Neanderthals as being almost basically gorillas or something like that. Turns out that this is basically the inverse. It turns out that the Neanderthals were the cultured ones, and their diaspora basically culturally ingrained into the higher breeding populations of the Homo sapiens, and basically saved them from complete savagery more than anything else. And so these tips and tricks that they knew, like how to make arrows, how to make, or atlatls at least, how to make jewelry and so forth, fire, these were taken from the Neanderthals, moved south as the glaciers proceeded, and then they interbred, and the rest was history, and the human race was formed. And then you have a re-diaspora multiple times, etc., etc. I have a feeling that this diaspora actually came from further north and far further back, and the glaciers simply destroyed all evidence of their existence entirely. This is something that would be considered a conspiracy theory. It has been hypothesized before. Yeah, Quest for Fire. I remember watching that movie and really, really liked it. It's pretty good. Last Beacon. Slop, 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 slop. Aw, King of Biltong left. That means that we need to eat some Vegemite. Maybe when he comes, we'll eat Bovrite, and when he leaves, we'll eat Vegemite or something like that. Still delicious. Great on a piece of toast. It's something that some people will really like, and some people will really fucking hate. There's not a whole lot of in between. Danily, come. Rabbit, curious, is there anything you guys won't wank to? Yeah, like other dudes and stuff like that. Bobby seems oddly obsessed with the Kino Casino as well. I have not actually watched an episode, honestly. I haven't even watched a clip. I don't know. I don't care if people criticize me or talk badly about me. It kind of comes with the territory, you know. So, it's all good. Last Beacon says mushroom, 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 mushroom. Yeah, actually, after this live stream, I've got to go out and see if there are any mushrooms growing in the woodlot. Because I piled out a huge amount of wood there years ago, and it's slowly rotting into the ground. And there's all sorts of crazy mushrooms that grow out there. No, Bobby, I don't even think about Kino Casino regularly. Don't care. Sigil, badger, 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 badger. No, Bobby, I'm telling you the truth. I've never seen a clip of any of their work. I just find it very sad that, you can support somebody for years and years, and all of a sudden you get word that they've wheeled around, done a 180, and all of a sudden hate you or something like that. It's very strange, actually, and I literally do not know the reason why. So it's a confusion to me more than anything else. Yeah, girl of the valley. Damn it, Bobby. That boy ain't right. What happens if someone asks for their steak well done? We ask them firmly and politely to leave. Well, Bobby, because I get reports from people that apparently they have a big problem with me, specifically Triple P there. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. It doesn't really matter, though. It's like, they've got their show, they've got their right to free expression. They can criticize me all they want. I could criticize them, but that would be giving them importance. Cam2425IA, what do you use to keep bugs off blackberry bushes? It doesn't seem to really make a difference because no bugs appear to attack them, actually, here. It's kind of odd, actually. We used to have a huge Japanese beetle problem. I haven't seen a lot of them lately, though. Copium Poppies, you guys who use it should follow us on Spotify. That's an excellent idea. Broken Prophet. I like that one clip where he's like, "That's a clean burn in hell, I tell you what." Ha 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 ha. That was funny. Well, see, Bobby, you just, basically corroborated what I said, which is that they don't like me. I do not care why. It means absolutely nothing to me. They do their show, I do my show, and that's it. People choose what they want to look at. Mirror from the Matrix can mix in cayenne and cinnamon. There are actually old herbal recipes. Cayenne was one of the big ones that was promoted actually by the Thomsonian method. Cayenne was one of the big ones, along with the lobelia. Lobelia is the emetic. Cayenne is to provoke, like the sinuses and stuff, to drip out the mucus and stuff like that, along with several others. It's actually an interesting facet of early to mid 1800s herbal medicine. Probably worked better than some of the stuff that they use now, at least for topical ailments. You get the flu. Mainly you're going to treat symptomatically. Unless you're going to shoot yourself full of antiviral drugs, you're going to have to suffer with that flu. But you can definitely take care of the symptoms: scratchy throat, mucus, vomiting, things like that. Mirror from the Matrix. Garlic oil will make blueberries taste like garlic. I would assume so, because it's garlic oil. A fun time had by all. Yeah, I've written and edited a number of works on herbal medicine. I'll be going mushrooming in the wood a lot briefly after this live stream. And I've got a shit ton of garlic out in the garden. This year, though, the garden is overgrown. What I'm going to do is let it overgrow itself, smash it down, use the overgrowth actually as mulch more than anything else, and then clear it out in the spring. I'm not going to be able to do anything much else with it, actually, at this point. It's too late in the season. You got to realize this is Vermont. We've got a different climate than if you're in, let's say, Virginia or the Carolinas or something. Last weekend, I say that in the last super chat because the sophomore and junior years and senior years were some of the best and worst of my life because I managed to see some of the good stuff. Yeah, I know. High school is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you have all sorts of cool interactions. On the other hand, you have all sorts of uncool interactions. And you have to get up early in the morning just to go and get, reamed by the teacher or something. Thankfully, I never had a problem with my grades or anything like that, so I had pretty much free reign. Anyways, I'm going to go offline because I need to docket more work, and also I kind of do want to see like the mushrooms and the berries and shit out back. So please send no more super chats. I can't keep up with them. Last weekend, before everything just went to hell, and now I'm here in Florida waiting for it all to go blue before it just completely goes to shit in the next 20. Huh. Kilowatt, the best way to keep bugs off a specific plant? Just plant a plant that they like more beside it. Yes, or you can use a combination of neem oil and diatomaceous earth, actually. Diatoms will pretty much kill any insect that it comes into contact with. It rips them apart. It's quite funny. So yeah, I'm going to go offline now. I will be doing a little bit of docketing and a little bit of mushrooming, and then I'll be back tomorrow. That's all.